Hey everyone, welcome to the Underswell. I'm Derek Sabori. Thanks for being here. Alfred, we're live. We're live on the show. Welcome to the show.
Great. Thanks for having me on, Derek.
Thanks for being here. We're going to have a great conversation. It's Friday. Happy Friday. I like to kick off with, this question of what do you got going on for the weekend? You got any big plans?
We are preparing for more construction workers in the backyard. We are preparing for retirement. We're looking at retiring on a beach in Mexico on the Caribbean side, and everything we do is focused on that, getting the house ready to sell. So we're doing a lot of yard work. So the house is ready when we're ready to retire in about a year and a half.
Wow. I love this idea of putting retirement plans into action, I guess, into reality. For me, as I start to get closer and start to materialize it and think about it and know that it's right around the corner, I mean, here's an unscripted question, but how does that feel? That pops up on us quickly, huh?
There is no feeling in the world than knowing you're so excited for retirement. Mm. It's the wife and I took about 6 months to practice retirement, and we both said, "Oh my God, this is going to be so awesome."
I'm excited for you. Congratulations on that.
Thanks.
That's a big deal. Well, let's dive in. I'm here today with Alfred Ricci, a comprehensive human capital management professional, past president of the Central Valley Society for Human Resource Management. Alfred, you've got experience as a conference presenter and workshop leader on AI in HR, emotional intelligence, and employee development. You are the vice president of strategic relations at Alchemist, which is a dynamic SaaS solution that caters to large organizations with high volume hiring. Is it safe to say you're doing business sort of at the crossroads of human capital, human resources, AI, and business efficiency? Did I miss anything?
That's a good way to put it. Is AI is great at doing tasks. And if you can define what those tasks are and then build business processes around those, AI can be a fantastic enabler to help you do things better, faster, cheaper. It's when you give AI a larger thing to do, such as, can you answer our phone and provide customer service? That's where currently we're having a problem. A lot of larger companies have decided to go back to humans answering the phone. So looking at AI currently, it's not as smart as a lot of people think it is. It still needs a lot of hand-holding.
Yeah.
Such as, did you grade this resume correctly? Did you score this interview correctly? Are you looking at just the certain factors we want, such as skills, how well the resume matched the job description? At a task level, it still needs to be monitored.
Yeah. Are you bullish on AI right now, especially in your space when it comes to human capital, human resources? Are you bullish, or sort of like you just mentioned, we still got work to do, but overall?
Yes, specifically when larger companies need leverage. I just gave a presentation to the SHRM chapter in Reno, Nevada. And my initial question was, how many people have so many resumes coming in per job that you're not capable of looking at them all? Okay.
All the hands go up in the room, or what?
There were a few. And it's one of the areas where it's a task where you can say, grade these resumes, provide a summary of these resumes so that humans can come and do spot checks, such as quality control. And that's the change in what people are going to be doing, is instead of actually, shall we say, at an initial human resources perspective, looking at every single resume, AI can look at resumes, score the resumes. People are going to be there to do quality assurance, to say, did you score the resumes properly? Because AI could do things quickly. It works 24/7. It doesn't need to eat or sleep. So it can do high volume, and that's where the most of the benefit is right now, especially with higher levels of technology is it's an investment. And
Right.
companies that have that level of volume need to find out what type of technology enablers such as AI can come in and alleviate those bottlenecks without them just throwing people at it.
Yeah. Well, it's a really interesting time and it's such a powerful tool. But I know for you, over the course of your career, you've spearheaded international cross-functional teams for global corporations. You've really accumulated a wealth of experience working in over 20 countries. That was why I was so intrigued when we first met. I heard your story. I'm like, wow. You've witnessed firsthand, sort of, as you're just alluding to, the transformative impact of technology. So we're going to have plenty to talk about. But what, though, besides work, let's kick this off with, besides work and besides, I guess, planning for retirement, is there anything else keeping you busy personally these days? What kind of things are you doing outside of work?
Being in love.
Hey, nice. Nobody's given me that response before. I love that.
I've done some unbelievable things in this life. And we're going to get into that more about how can you go from no matter where you are, no matter what your circumstance, to have an absolutely incredible life doing unbelievable things that you couldn't even dream about, which we'll get into that.
Yeah.
And out of all the things I've done, all the places I've been, being in love, by far the happiest I've ever been in my life.
Wow, you're inspiring me right now to want to start a new podcast focused on just being in love and what that means.
And relationships.
Yes.
What does it mean to be in a relationship? I'm actually working on a book called The 5 Love Levels.
Oh,
And
okay.
it takes the 5 love languages and expands upon them and say, if you get a relationship that's pretty solid according to the 5 love languages, fantastic. Highly recommend it. What's from there? Where do you go up from there? What is Tantra?
Yeah. What are the 5 love languages? I guess I should know them, but
Things like acts of service, words of kindness, gifts.
oh, that's right. Okay. Yeah.
Quality time, physical touch. I think those are the 5.
Okay. Well, I'll share this with you. My wife and I, we just celebrated our 26th year of marriage. We just had our 26-year anniversary, and
Wow.
something we're really, really proud of and always working on and just really excited about. Our kids are young adults now, 21 and 18, so they're getting ready to go off into their lives. So we're in this zone of trying to figure out what our relationship will look like in this next chapter, how we all function as a unit and a family in this next chapter. It's all uncharted territory as well because neither of our parents were together for that long. So we're like building it as we go, and it's been awesome. I agree. It's been really, really fun and challenging and fun and rewarding.
Yeah, I was in the same boat where, how do I put this? I'm just going to jump right into this.
Let's do it.
My family was so, and I'm going to be gentle here, bad. I walked out my door at 14 years old.
14.
Walked out the door and said, I don't understand what is going on with you people. You're not my family. I don't know what you are, but I'm going someplace else. I don't care where it is to go figure out my life. And I placed myself into the system of Rhode Island. I placed myself into shelters, group homes, and foster homes.
Wow. That is, I mean, let's get into that, I guess, because that's a heavy, heavy story to even consider. I mean, if I've got an 18-year-old and I just can't imagine either one of my kids having to do that, being, that pressure, that fear, that sense of unknown, the unknown. I guess talk to me a little bit about that. What was that?
The unknown.
like?
That's a fantastic way to look at this because the theme of this show is how to have a life beyond your dreams.
Yeah.
So the first premise of what we're looking at is I don't care where you are currently. I don't care what your situation. I don't care your financial situation, whether you're stable or not, whether you're sleeping on friends' couches, whether you're in the system. You have the ability, and we're going to be talking specifics, what to do about how to get out of wherever it is and take specific steps to begin your journey towards a life that you couldn't even imagine. I had dreams. I so far passed those dreams to things that I didn't even knew existed, because I'm going to be walking people through the steps that are possible. The very first thing, coming back to your question, is to understand what you don't want. If you don't want a living situation, a relationship, a job, a career, you're broke, you're unstable, the first thing is to say, I don't want that. Now, that's the easy step to understand. I don't want that. The more interesting next step is, what do you want? Where do you go? And that's where it gets interesting.
Yeah. Okay, so I want to get into some specifics and get more of those details from you. I want to kind of introduce first how we met, because Alfred, you and I were both UC Irvine alumni. Fun fact, I've had a handful of Anteaters and fellow UC alums on the show now, which has been great, but we met in an alumni networking mixer in Fresno. I guess I want to ask real quickly, sort of, how was that event for you? Do you engage often with your UCI alum or broader UC events? And then talk to me about networking, because you and I connected, we clicked, your charisma, your story. Before you know it, I was like, come be on my show. So I don't know, tackle those things.
I would like to network more. I have tried to reach out since I left a large corporate and became an entrepreneur. It's tough. It really is. It's either you click with somebody or they look at you sideways. And it's one of those things. This is going to be a common theme. Either you leave it up to the universe to connect you with fantastic people like you, Derek, or it's just not meant to be. And you just go with the flow. You and I flowed very well, and I'm incredibly grateful to be on your show. And hopefully we're going to be giving your audience a lot of tips, tricks, and knowledge, how to go from wherever they are to just blasting off. My father told me one time, he says, it's like you're a space shuttle on the launch pad ready to hit the fire button. And I'm like, that was about 25 years ago, and that's exactly what happened, like a space shuttle taking off.
Yeah, well, you've built a killer executive resume, working with big banks like Deutsche Bank and big consulting and accounting firms like EY. You've had big roles in multiple countries. And I guess, so you told me you knew what you didn't want in your life. Everything has exceeded your dreams. So it's sort of, is this the work that you did always dream of doing, or what was your original plan? What did you want to be when you grew up?
Absolutely no idea what I wanted. None. Absolutely no idea. But one of the tricks that helps anyone along in life is, what do you like? What are you good at? What makes you happy? What makes your heart sing? Okay? Those are the things you should look at becoming educated in, practicing, becoming proficient in. That's the first tip we're going to be passing along to people is, what are you naturally good at? What are you naturally drawn to? Okay? With me, it was technology. When I interviewed for my first large bank, Banco di Napoli, Bank of Naples, Italy, I said, look, I don't have much banking experience, but you guys have a horrible computer system. I said, hire me. I'll come in on the weekends. I'll install a brand new computer system for the bank. Now, did I know what I was doing? No. I had absolutely no idea. But he hired me, and I figured it out. Because I loved that stuff. I loved new computers because it just flowed with me. That's how I got my first international banking job.
Rewind then. Tell me, how did you end up in Naples? How do you find yourself from, you get into the system in Rhode Island, you find your way out of that eventually. How do you end up out there in Naples? Take me back. Let's take it from the top.
Let's go back and go to trick number 2.
Okay.
So the first trick is, find what makes your heart sing and follow that, whether it's music or IT or whatever it is. The second thing, anybody can get an education. I was flat broke. I told you this story one time. I was in high school. I went to 6 high schools.
Jeez.
6. Doesn't matter how bad your situation is. I seriously doubt it's going to be worse than what I went through.
That's tough.
The only way I could go to college is a massive scholarship. Now, If you're taking notes, tick number 2. If you want to go to college, graduate, any school will have grants, loans, and scholarships. I was flat broke. I had a $500 car, $200 in my pocket, but I was able to go to a fantastic college because I talked to financial aid. You go talk to the financial aid department and say, hi, I'm flat broke. I need help to go to school. Now, there's 2 options. Of course, anybody can go to community college for $50 a class. That's the worst case scenario.
Right.
Is you can get a degree at community college, which I've gone to several times, taken miscellaneous classes just for the heck of it at $50 a class. Or you can go to a better college and you go talk to financial aid and you say, hi, what grants, scholarships, and loans are available to me? So on the path of 6 high schools, I applied to a bunch of colleges. One says, hey, we're going to give you a bunch of money to come study with us. I'm like, how cold could it be in Wisconsin?
And how cold was it? That's the punchline.
There were months where I would pray, please let it be above 20 today. Months.
Tough.
Above, like, God, please, above 20. Anyways, they gave me the most money. I got a very good scholarship and grants to go to school. So I don't care what your situation is. Now, you're going to go to school and you're going to say, well, I don't know what I want. Trick number 3, take business. Every single company, I don't care whether you're an entrepreneur, I don't care whether you do what I did, which is go big, huge corporate. Everybody has to understand business. If you don't know what you want, get a business degree. I got a double in economics and business because they overlap so much. You're really only getting like 1.5, but because some of the classes are doubled.
Yep.
Than both. So the worst case is if you're ambitious, get an economics and business degree. It is applicable to every single thing you do. I don't care if you play guitar. You still need to know how to run a business.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
So the next trick is if you don't know what to do, go to school, go to college, because either it's going to be dirt cheap at a community college or you go talk to financial aid and go to a good college if you're ambitious. So after Wisconsin, I said, hey, it's cold here. Oh, it's warm in Florida, Texas, California. Florida, they have humidity. Texas, middle of nowhere. California.
Welcome to the Golden State.
California sounds nice. Make a long story short, wound up getting my first banking job in Banco de Napoli. Now, it was a local branch of an international bank.
Okay.
You just throw yourself out there. Don't be scared. What's the worst thing that's going to happen is they tell you no.
Right.
So I interviewed like crazy. I'm like, who cares? What are they going to tell me no? This guy said yes. Like, okay, sure. So I wound up doing a lot of IT stuff, and I said, you know what? I want to continue with this IT stuff. I'm going to go to school again because school is fun. It is so
valuable.
Invaluable. Now, I know you did a FEMBO, which is a fully employed.
Yeah, that's right.
I did the opposite, which is a full-time.
Yeah.
I did not work. And you can go either way.
Sure.
My personal, the heck with working. Take out loans, grants, and scholarships. Yes, it takes a while, but have fun in school.
Yeah, immerse yourself in it.
Yeah, immerse yourself.
Yeah.
Some people want to work while in school. Great. I had fun. I lived on the beach.
Yeah, I lived in my car. No, I didn't technically, but every spare moment was spent in my car, studying in my car to, go to work, spend my lunches, cramming, getting ready for school at night and the weekends.
How horrible grad school was. I had to wake up in the morning and I catch myself sweeping all the beach sand out of the floor. And I'm like, beach sand. I'm like, did I just complain that the beach sand from the beach is coming into my kitchen? I'm like, sweep the beach sand.
Yeah, change the perspective. Change the way you look at things. The things you look at change.
So again, went to grad school, UC Irvine, unbelievable program. But I did it because of grants, scholarships, and loans.
Wow. Yeah.
So
Okay.
I was able to go to graduate school without having to work. Now, again, what did I do? Focused on business, but international business. That's how I got to graduate school, followed the same exact path because I didn't have enough fun in undergrad. I wanted to make sure I had more fun in grad school.
Yeah.
Now, why do you go to school? Why is that a key? Why is that important to having an unbelievable life beyond your dreams? Those pieces of paper, what are they worth? They're keys. It's a key that opens doors.
What's great is I love the way you're presenting this, Alfred, because it's just, the whole point of this show, of me creating this show was sort of with my young kids in mind and their friends, right? Of just like, I don't know, college, I don't know, is it for me? Everybody's just sort of trying to figure out. So the way you're laying this out in sort of these practical tips, with the narrative is so good. So tell me why it's a key. Let's tell them why it's a key.
So, certain positions have certain requirements.
Yeah.
So a requirement for a job may be you need a bachelor's degree. Some jobs, such as international consulting, an MBA gets you in very quickly.
Yeah.
So make a long story short, during my grad school, I did a semester abroad in Vienna, Austria, met my first wife.
While you're in grad school. Well, okay.
While I'm in grad school, I went back to the U.S. We dated back and forth, 13-hour flights.
Yep.
And we decided, you know what? Let's get married. I'm going to move to Vienna. She introduces me to Ernst & Young International. This is how important an MBA is. I met the head of banking technology consulting, and he says, I hear you have an MBA from the U.S. And I said the word, yes.
As a matter of fact, I do.
One word. I said, yes.
Yes.
He says, great. We need somebody to do da, 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 da.
You're kidding.
The interview was done.
Wow.
I'm working for Ernst & Young International because I said the word yes.
Is that, there's this, I guess I'm trying to, how do I phrase this? There's like serendipity, there's luck, there's being prepared, being prepared for the luck that life presents you. What do you call this moment? What would you say? A flow. Yeah, okay.
You just go with the flow. And that's why having the degrees gets you in the door. And you just take the shotgun approach. You just keep throwing stuff against the wall until something hits. And all of a sudden, it's just going to flow.
And you just keep saying yes.
You just say yes.
So you take that job. So you find yourself now at Ernst & Young, one of the biggest accounting firms in the world.
Based in Vienna, Austria, in Europe. I'm getting paid in shillings. So the next tip is if you still don't know what you want to do, go work for a consulting firm. Why? Because they will send you on the most crazy, unbelievable missions, consulting jobs that you never knew existed. Every month, every 2 months, you're at a new client, a new job, consulting on new things, learning new things because you have access to their internal methodology. You're constantly learning. You're constantly getting experience in different areas. So if you still don't know what you want to do, whether it's after undergrad or grad school, be a consultant.
It sounds like it's the mission impossible of career building, right? Where it's like, you're building your next thing. You're always on the move.
And then finally, there was a client, Deutsche Bank, that I was like, I like what they're doing. And I went up to them and said, I like what you're doing. And they said, we need somebody like you.
And
Next thing you know, I'm interviewing in Frankfurt, Germany. And they said, yeah, sure, come on in. Now I moved from Vienna, Austria to Frankfurt, Germany. I'm getting paid in Deutschmark, was there during the Euro transition. We brought our Deutschmark and shillings and everything, and they gave us euros. All because I said, what do you need? Need help with? Now, the next trick to having an unbelievable life that you can't imagine is you volunteer to travel.
You were willing.
Yes. If you say, I'm willing to travel as much as you want me to, another huge opportunity for both sides, because consulting firms absolutely need people to travel. Okay. So you benefit because you're constantly going to new jobs, new consulting things that you, like I never knew existed. You're learning things that are so far outside of school because they're practical. They have a company that needs help with something that you'd have 2 days to learn and then go consult with the company. So you're constantly exposed to new people, new cities, possibly new countries, new cultures, new business practices, new legal systems, new countries, new histories, all because you said, I'm willing. Now, a lot of consulting is done within the U.S.
Yeah.
I decided I wanted to volunteer for international projects. Why? Why not?
I want to add, because the international exposure is not only just fun and fascinating, but how does it fill your life? I mean, I could go on for days on that, but I want to hear your perspective. Why is this so important?
Travel fills your soul. You learn so much about other people, other people's cultures, other people's view of life. You get a view of the U.S. from outside, the way Europeans think about the U.S., the way Asians think about the U.S. You don't get that while you're here.
So true.
So
true.
you get such different perspectives on how to live life, what's important. They were constantly asking me, what is American culture? We don't understand. And I was like, great, I'll tell you about American culture. You tell me about Asian or European culture. And so one of the problems that I identified on the beginning is it's easy to find what you don't want. All of these tips and tricks that I'm telling you are to find out what you do want.
Okay.
Other people's perspectives, possibly other states, countries, cities, cultures, ways of life, ways of doing things. And you can say, I like that, whatever that is. But by throwing yourself out there, whether you're in a large company and you say, I'm willing to travel, or you're in a consulting firm and you say, I'm willing to travel, you're constantly going out, meeting people in different areas, possibly different countries that you may not have known existed, or their way of life exists. And all of a sudden you see these things and like, these are crazy. I sort of like this, which is, for example, the wife and I want to retire on a beach. How do you do that? Well, I've traveled so much, it's easy.
It can be done.
It can be done.
Yeah.
Practice doing things that you never knew existed to find out, hey, I want to do more of this. So that's a huge key to finding out, okay, this is what I don't want, but what kind of a life, what kind of a family, what kind of life do I want? You find out through travel.
So you find yourself, you're traveling, you volunteered to travel. How do you end up going? You're now in a couple of countries, and does it just kind of keep rolling from there? And are you starting to realize what it is you do want? I mean, is this all living up to the dream and the hype? Are you excited about it? Where's your head at then? When
you're in this and you're working 6 to 7 days a week, 10 to 12 hours a day, you don't know what's going on. You remember those days in grad school where you're like, what happened?
Yeah. What day is it?
It is incredibly difficult to be grateful when you are glued to your phone 24/7 and they expect you to be available. I've had conference calls at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning.
So this is the flip side. This is the downside of potentially, you get the perks, you get the resumes being built, you're getting the experiences, but it comes with a bit of a trade-off, it sounds like.
The trade-off is, as they told me, if you're not married, you marry the company.
Oh.
Because if you say, I'm willing to travel, you're saying my life is yours.
Wow.
Now, what you get is an unbelievable amount of experience and knowledge in return.
Yeah.
You're basically going to work a ridiculous amount because you wake up at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. You get in a taxi at 5 in the morning. You're on an airplane at 6 or 7 in the morning. You wind up at some place at 9 and 10 in the morning. You work a 10-hour day. You get to the hotel at 11 o'clock at night.
And then you do it again the next day.
And you do it again week after month.
Jeez.
For a very long time. So what is important if you decide to go along that path? Well, I didn't know it was important because I just threw myself into it and said, I don't know what's going on, but this is incredible.
Yeah. You're right in the middle of it. You're in the middle of the storm, basically. How can you see anything else?
The skills that I wish I had back then was emotional intelligence. How to deal with stress, how to deal with yourself, how to deal with others. And it falls under emotional intelligence. I didn't have that. I didn't have stress coping skills. So unfortunately, I was following self-medication, drinking too much, anything that was available. One of my offices was Amsterdam.
Oh, well, enough said, I guess, perhaps. Right,
For years. Here's a horrible story. Horrible.
Okay.
Absolutely horrible. I wind up in Deutsche. The global head of product shows up and says, okay, Alfred's here. We're all staff. She pulls out a map of Europe. And she goes down and says, okay, Alfred speaks English. He gets the UK. Here, you're in Brussels. You get that. Mireille, you speak Italian. You get France and Italy. Hayo, you guys speak German. You get Germany and Austria. Alonso, you speak Spanish. You get Spain and Portugal. And we divided up Europe. And she says, okay, that's done. And I was like, and she says, what? I said, everybody's got 2 countries. I only have 1. And she says, yeah. I said, nobody has Holland. She says, okay, Alfred has Holland. 3 months later, Amsterdam volunteers to be the beta site for a European rollout, which means they're going to test it first. And she says, oh, Alfred, they volunteered to be a beta site. Can you go to Holland for a year?
Oh, jeez.
And help them being a beta site. So, volunteer to travel.
Yeah, because you said yes again.
Because I said yes. And here I am basically living in Amsterdam. I was staying at the Hilton with John Lennon and Yoko Ono protested the Vietnam War.
Oh, wow.
In Amsterdam. It was really tough for them.
Yeah.
Anyways, I didn't know any better about how to deal with stress than drinking and self-medication. I highly recommend, if you're going to follow this path and volunteer to travel, that you in advance learn emotional intelligence to deal with yourself and how to deal with stress and how to deal with others. Because I would have probably still been doing it. Because unfortunately, as you were mentioning, what happens then? Normally, it takes about 2 to 3 years before you start thinking, do I want to continue with this expat life, expatriate life, where you're from one country, living and working in another country? And about year 3, people decide, lots of conversations, because you get to know people at airports and airplanes, that year 3 is usually, I'm going to continue doing this, living the James Bond life, basically.
Yeah.
Or, you know what? I need some stability. I can't continue doing this. And that's pretty much where it was for me. About year 3, I started burning out hard. I didn't have coping mechanisms to handle the amount of stress that I was dealing with. And I got to the point where I was doing 2 to 3 countries a week.
Oh, jeez.
And one time I woke up in a country and I didn't know what country I was in. I didn't know why I was there, what I was doing there, who I was consulting with, and that happened a couple of times until I realized I'm in trouble. Unfortunately, they didn't have anything to help, so I wound up just resigning.
you quit. He said, but that, wow, that's, I mean, one, that's bold. Two, because especially you're probably feeling like you're at the top of your game, just feeling, I mean, that's got to be really sort of emboldening, right? You're just like traveling. I'm a consultant. You're in all the lounges. You've got all the gold cards, I'm sure, whatever. You've got your suits and ties. And that takes, I guess, is it courage that gets you to quit? Is it fear? Is it sort of, what is it?
That was divine intervention. That really was. And
how so?
A lot of times, so what I was talking about, the flow.
Yeah.
What is the flow? Whether you're religious or spiritual, or you just like, I need to figure out what I'm doing. Sometimes you just need to say, God, please tell me what to do. I was lucky that my angels, those people who watch over me, occasionally came by and just sprinkled something in front of me and said, here, go do this. I was lucky that I paid attention. Now,
I was going to say, you got to listen when those things come, right? That's the trick.
So angels, what do? Any definition in any dictionary, look up the word angel in the dictionary. Every single definition of an angel will say messenger of God. Now, our job is to listen. Listen to those angels that watch over you to say, what are you telling me in this situation? When I burnt out, my angels were like, you're done. You need to stop this. Now, what they had planned for me is a whole nother topic. But I was lucky enough, every opportunity they said, go do this. I was like, heck yeah, I'm going to go do that. Whatever craziness that is.
Yeah.
Because, I'm going to circle back here for a second. If you're in a horrible situation, if you're broke, if you're unstable, that's the best training in the world. It may think that, like, wait, hold on, I'm in a horrible situation.
Yeah.
Training? Yes. That's training, because you're under an immense amount of pressure and you're learning how to deal with pressure. You're learning how to survive. When my first consulting company, E&Y, gave me a piece of paper and they're like, here's a folder. We need you to go to this client and learn this stuff tonight, and here's the plane ticket for tomorrow. I said, you're going to pay me to do that? Really?
Yeah.
Because I had been through the school of hard knocks, and anybody who's been through the school of hard knocks knows how to deal with stress. Now, the amount of stress that you're going to get on this career path is beyond anything you could imagine.
Yeah.
Which is why I was saying it's good if you learn a little emotional intelligence beforehand. However, when you get to a point in life that you're like, you know what, God, I'm in this crazy situation. I need some help.
I got to get out.
I got to get out. Go to school. Volunteer to travel. Okay? Get paid to travel. Or when you get to the point of saying, I can't take this anymore, whatever this is. And my point, it was just, I couldn't take the level of responsibility that I had volunteered for. I actually volunteered. I volunteered to travel to crazy amounts of countries.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, sure, fine, have at it. We need somebody to do that. But when you get to the point you're saying, I can't do this anymore, you got to say, God, what should I do? And at that point, coming full circle, they said, we've got something else planned for you. Walk away. Go back to California.
So, yeah, what was did you have a plan in mind, or you really were like, I'll just figure it out?
I came back with 2 boxes from Europe. I gave away everything. There was a young couple that were just getting together. I said, here's my entire kitchen.
Wow.
Take it.
Yeah, yeah.
I hope you two fall in love and have fun. I left everything. I came back with 2 boxes, my books, which I really didn't need, and my clothes. And I was sleeping on a friend's couch.
Wow.
Unemployed. No car. And I said, God, tell me what to do. 2 weeks later, somebody says, a friend of mine says you should go interview with this company. It was Experian, as in like the Experian credit company.
Yeah.
Same thing. Interview. just flowed. Now I'm working back in the U.S., dealing with international vendors. I had international experience. All the guys in India that were doing development, I'm like, yeah, sure, fine, I'll do that. Just volunteer. Whether it turns out good or not, who knows?
Sure.
But another tip, whether you follow these tips or not is up to you.
Yeah, this is the playbook.
Is on occasion, stop and say, angels that watch over me, God, whatever you want to call the universe, I need some help. So what direction should I go in?
Okay, put the ask out there.
Put the ask. Ask and you shall receive. Now, it's their job to open the door. It's your job when the door opens to
walk in or to work. Okay, work. Put the work in. Walk in. Put the work in. Yeah.
Put the work in. When God presents you an opportunity, it may be a fantastic opportunity, but sometimes you get something and you get to live a life beyond your dreams. Sometimes you get volunteered or you volunteer to do something and you're like, yeah, I'll figure it out. Sometimes it takes 10, 12 hours a day, 5, 6, 7 days a week.
Ah, jeez.
But you're learning.
You're
Experiencing. Possibly you're traveling. Again, to find out all that's out there so you can decide, yeah, I don't want that, but what do you want? What knowledge is there? Cultures, ways of life that you had no idea. And then all that knowledge, you can decide that to live a life past your dreams, you need to discover things that you never even knew existed.
Yeah, that's right. And expose yourself to them.
And that's the trick of, I volunteer. I used to say I purposely jumped out of the frying pan into the fire. Purposely.
Yeah, because are you just doing the same thing, but now back in the U.S. for a different company? Are you still...
So what happened was I burnt out, and the universe led me toward a mentor who was teaching emotional intelligence, spiritual principles, how to do the inner work, how to let go of your childhood, how to let go of that stuff, how to become resilient, how to become mindful. All that stuff is so important. Did that for over 15 years, learned it myself and passed it on to others. And I said, okay, universe, I've been of service, I've helped thousands of people. I'm ready to retire. I want to retire. I'd like enough abundance in my life. I'd like to retire. And I said, I'll just let it go. You guys figure it out. 1 month later, I get a phone call. A friend of mine from 20 years ago says, we've known you for 20 years. We really like you. We have this software company. We'd like to grow the company and eventually sell it and retire. We'd like to give you a piece of it if you help us.
You're like, funny thing is, I'm trying to retire too.
Yeah, and everybody's trying to retire.
Wow.
Hence the company I'm in now. Now, the company is human resources. What's human resources? A big part of human resources is employee development. Employee development is basically what I was teaching, emotional intelligence. I was going into, for example, hospitals and teaching doctors and nurses how to have emotional intelligence to deal with stress, resilience, mindfulness. So luckily, I understood the employee development side of it, got involved in the Society of Human Resources Management to understand the rest of human resources. Okay, so I asked the universe for an opportunity. They provided an opportunity, and it's where I landed currently, which is trying to grow and eventually sell or get funded for this human resources software company.
Well, Alfred, let's take a quick break so I can come back and ask you more about that. Tell us a little bit more about that experience, what it's been like. And I also want to just start getting some advice from you as we start to turn the corner and wrap it up for our guests here. But you've already given some great advice. You're laying out a good playbook for us. But I also, after the break, I want to know what your underswell is, because to me, that is sort of what's been driving you this whole time. What's underneath the surface, the power,
Fantastic question.
That force that drives you. So hang tight. We'll come right back and we'll wrap up with those questions. Hi, everyone. I hope you're enjoying the episode. I'm always so inspired and motivated by these career stories, and I hope you are too. And I wonder, are you looking to be featured on the show? Each week, I chat with an invited guest who is an expert in their space or who has compiled a stellar resume. If you fit that description and are interested in being a guest, just hit me up at Derek Sabori on LinkedIn. And here's something else to consider. This show platform is for hire. I build professional and personal podcast profiles for people who are looking to stand out in a crowded marketplace. You've heard my guests say it's your personality, the way you connect with people, and your ability to relate and communicate that will help land that next job, client, or customer. So let's show off your personality, not just your resume, and let's do it on a podcast. Head over to theunderswell.com to learn more. And now back to the show. All right. Well, Alfred, right before the break, I was mentioning just this idea of the underswell. I really believe that underneath all the big moments and the resumes that we've built, there are these small things kind of in between the big moments or underneath the surface. So what is it that you would say your underswell is? What has been driving you this whole time? What drives you towards success? What's your driving force?
I'm going to pass along one of the most important pieces of advice that I received. I was living in a group home, and as you could expect, there's a bunch of very angry kids. They've either lost their parents, were thrown out by their parents. They're either going to or coming from juvenile detention, which is underage jail. I was extremely mad and confused by the fact that I had to literally walk out of my house in order to survive at 14 years old. You have no ability to process that level of insanity when you're a teenager.
No kidding.
And one of the group home counselors came to me and put his arm around me and said, "Why don't you channel that negative energy into something positive?"
How does that land with you when somebody says that to you? When you're in that state, did you take it constructively or did you have to process it?
That is brilliant. Because everybody else, there was 13 of us. 13 of us, 12 smoked, 1 didn't. 13 of us would go out, 12 would buy candy bars, cookies, 1 would buy an apple. There were 13 of us. 11 quit school. 2 of us went to school. 1 went to trade school out of 13. I was the only one that went to school.
Wow, yeah, okay.
The only one. Because I was like, all you people are just getting in trouble. I said, why don't I channel all of that stuff into something positive? And no matter how many times I switched schools, I said, I'm signing up for AP classes. I'm signing up for college prep. I want to go to college. I'm driven, determined not to have this, which was my prior family life. I want something different. I had no idea what it was. But my underswell was, you know what? I've survived so far, and I'm going to survive, and I'm going to have an awesome life. I don't know what it is. It's going to happen.
Was it, so it's kind of like, it was just faith and a belief that there was something better there for you, and you just had to keep powering through to get there?
That was it, is that there has to be a better way. Now, I'm lucky that when I left, I'm like, there has to be something better. And if I keep working at it, I'm going to find it. That was my underswell. That was what drove me, no matter how. I had 1 year, I changed schools 3 times. Nobody registered me. I had to go to the school and register myself It was pure insanity.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I don't care what it is. I had this internal drive to take all that anger and confusion and do something with it. That was my underswell.
Yeah. Well, you really did. It's been such an amazing experience. And this transformation that you've gone through, I think, is really powerful. And it's a good reminder for other people who are building their careers either early, maybe they're in the middle of it. A lot of people are pivoting right now and finding new things. So I guess maybe give me some advice here for individuals maybe who are recently graduating from school. You were there, or maybe those that are wanting to get into consulting or HR or even startups like the one you're in. What do you have for them? What do they need to know? What set of soft skills should they have right now?
So soft skills, emotional intelligence. I personally love EQI 2.0. Again, EQI 2.0. Reach out to me if you'd like more information.
Okay.
Absolutely love the structure and methodology. This is not taught in school. Right. Social skills, stress management is not taught in school. You have to go out of your way to get that. That will help you so much. I was working for a major corporation that said, if you're going to be a leader or a manager, you must take this class. And we were teaching the class.
Okay. Yeah.
So if you want a life that goes like this, emotional intelligence. Okay. Second, volunteer. Now, I volunteered in big corporate. I'm currently volunteering in a startup. What's the difference?
Yeah.
Is in a startup, again, you will be exposed to everything because you got just a few people trying to run a business. You're on a shoestring budget.
Yeah.
So fantastic experience. Now, if you don't really have to worry about money and they say, come in and we're going to get you some equity, fantastic opportunity. It may fail. You may learn, you may lose everything,
right?
But you tried. That's what's fantastic about being up here near Silicon Valley is there's a lot of opportunities. Say you're living with your parents. Hey, mom and dad, I'm going to put everything on the line and join this startup. Will you support me? Which means, I'm going to wind up staying at home because I'm not going to get paid much, but I'm going to get equity. Who knows if you're in the next HP or Apple? You don't know.
And
but you're going to get fantastic experience.
Right. And that's a good trade-off for, I would say, parents. when your kid is like, hey, the reason I'm staying home is because I'm all in on this thing. As a parent, you can go, okay, that seems good. As opposed to, I'm just home because.
Yeah, that's
advice.
great. I'm just home. I don't know what I'm going to do versus, hey,
you're helping me out.
I'm going to volunteer for this absolutely incredibly insane thing.
Yeah.
I don't know whether it's going to work out, but I'm going to work my butt off.
Right.
And that's a consistent theme.
Interesting.
If you want a life beyond your dreams, you got to put in the time.
All right.
Let's go back to UCI. Okay. 200 were accepted. There were people who bragged they slept every other day.
Oh my gosh.
I was getting about 3 to 4 hours of sleep a night. I wasn't working like you.
Yeah.
When we finished, 100 graduated. 50% didn't make it through.
Jeez.
That was the level of work that we had to do to graduate from the full-time MBA program.
How?
When I got that was so. It prepared me, and we got together and talked about it. It's like, what did we get from grad school? 1, how to do a ridiculous amount of work in a short amount of time.
Yeah.
2, how to talk to anybody about anything. Like, that's what we got?
Yeah.
Really? We all agreed. But
is there a third thing? I like things in threes. Give me a third one.
Those are a piece of paper.
Yeah,
that
there we go. The key. Your key.
Open.
Thank you.
You want to be an international consultant? Get your MBA.
God, those are good things. I think.
You get your MBA, become an international consultant. It's that simple. Or you could stay domestic. But anyways, a huge theme is if you want a life beyond your dreams, you better be prepared to work.
Which means...
And it is not, hey, it's 5 o'clock. That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
It's what everybody leaves at 5 and you stay until 8 or 9 or 10 working on your little pet projects. Okay.
And I think it's so important. I love that you bring up just hard work, because that is often sort of a raw element that I think can often be left out, because it almost seems intuitive. But the reminder is that is why school is so important when you're young, is because it teaches you to grind through when you're like, what is the point? Why am I in this stupid class? I don't need this. I'll never use this again. It's like, guess what? It's teaching you how to just persevere, get through it, get through the mud and the thickness of it all and the slop, until at the very end, you're like, oh, I have the key. I earned that. I did that. And to your point, you learned how to work hard. You learned how to work with others, speak with anybody, show up, and put on a smile and perform, even when in the back of the house is burning, and you did it. So, and that hard work will carry you through the rest of your life, because to succeed, that is what it's going to take. It is always, no matter how shiny it looks on the outside, right? Underneath is just blood, sweat, and tears of the hard work that you had to put in.
Yeah, and that's a wake-up call for this new generation coming up that may not think they need to put in the hard work. Maybe somebody gets lucky. Maybe you're in a family that's a trust fund. Well, good for you. The rest of us who had to earn every single dollar, we put in the work. And if you want that life, I don't care what your situation, no matter how bad it is, I don't care how intelligent you are, if you're willing to put in the work, you can have an awesome life. Now, you don't have to go to school. This is really important. You don't have to go to college. You don't have to go to grad school. You can go to trade school.
Yeah.
Nurses at a 2-year degree are making $100,000 here in Modesto.
Yeah.
Because they need people, so the salaries are higher. Standard of living, fantastic. Trade school, nursing, whatever it is that drives you, you don't have to follow the traditional path that we did, which was college, grad school, or business. You can go to trade school. Both my father and my older brother went to trade school for high school, started their tool making career, making tools and dies and stamping and making things out of metal. Yeah. It's crazy. So it doesn't matter what it is. You can go to school, whether it's a trade school, mechanic. Next life, I want to be a mechanic. I want to work on off-road trucks. I've already put that out to the universe. I want to build off-road trucks and go drive around off-road all the time.
Oh, I love it.
But if that's what makes your heart sing. Remember I said I was going to community colleges for classes? I was taking welding classes. If that's what makes your heart sing, do it.
Do it. Put in the work. Put in the work.
Put in the work. Another huge lesson. Huge. Nobody in the world owes you anything. Nobody. You, if you want something, are gonna have to work for it. You don't show up to work and get a promotion 2 to 3 months later. That is not the way it works. You have to dedicate yourself, put in the time, take special projects. What can I do to help? Earn the recognition. Then maybe you get the promotion. Showing up the way apps teach you, the way the world works, which you show up and you get rewarded, that is not the way the world works.
It takes time. And I always like to refer to it as either the 10-year overnight success or the 20-year overnight success. You don't hear the story. You don't see the band, right, with their big album until they've already been doing it for 10 or 15, 20 years. And they've been, putting in the hard work at the small clubs, playing to audiences of 3 and 5 and 10 people and getting booed off the stage. And, it's like, you got to put in the hard work.
Yeah.
That's a good reminder.
Whether it's you go to trade school and start your own business, whether you go corporate, to say I burnt out, it's because I worked so hard. Now, I'm unbelievably grateful I did. I cannot explain to you in a week how many experiences I've had because I volunteered, because I busted my butt, because I worked so hard that I had all of these unbelievable experiences that I never knew existed.
Well,
So if I'm going to pass along something, another bit of knowledge
Yeah.
is, you want an unbelievable life? Be prepared to work hard.
yeah, so I guess be careful what you ask for.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And undergrad, worthless. Absolutely worthless. It was a piece of paper. You know what I learned? Exactly what you said. How to do a ridiculous amount of work in a short amount of time. Grad school? Some useful skills, but the same thing.
Same thing. Yeah. I
How
agree.
to do a lot of work in a short amount of time, how to talk to people about different subjects the way they know how to communicate.
Yeah.
That is why you go to school. And at a worst case scenario, coming full circle, don't know what to do, take business.
Alfred, this is great experience. This is great advice. Thank you so much. I just want to ask you two more things, then I'll let you
Please.
go. Thanks
Sure.
for giving me some time here. But last one, I guess prior to my last question is this: what have you learned about yourself this whole time? You know, when you look back, you're like, what is it that you've learned? Really, when you look at yourself, like, what do you say now? What have you learned just about you?
Wow. Your past does not define you. Use it as fuel. Use it to be, as you say, your underswell. I don't care where you came from. I don't care who your parents are. My father used to brag that his father used to dig ditches. My father graduated trade school. He has grease under his nails that has been there for 20 years. I was the only one in my family to graduate college. Forget grad school.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where you come from. You can make an unbelievable life of yourself. That's the truth. There's a lot of people out there that say what you've experienced defines who you are. Well, good for them. They don't know emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence means, I don't care what's in here. I don't care what's in here. You can change it. That's emotional intelligence.
Yeah. That's great. Well, I know I'm going to leave the links on for how people can get a hold of you, follow along with the work that you're doing so that you can continue to help people. This has been a great sort of motivational speaking moment, you know, to get all of this great bits of wisdom and advice. Thank you for all of that. My last thing is here, I like to do this thing where I just sort of give you the mic. It's an open mic moment where, you know, gratitude, shout outs, call outs, frustrations, rants, raves, whatever we call it, recommendations, or just the last bits of advice that maybe we left out, whatever it is, the mic is yours for the last minute here. So I hand it over to you.
So many pieces of wisdom that I've picked up that I could pass along. One piece, just one. I don't care what's going on out there. I don't care what the political situation is. I don't care if you agree with people out there. I don't care if you agree with your family out there. I don't care if you agree with the news out there. You have a choice. And this is part of emotional intelligence. I don't watch the news because I completely disagree with just everything out there. I have a choice not to watch the news. People come up to me and say, oh, I want to discuss this and that, and what's your perspective on this or that? I say, I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't even want to discuss it. What do you mean you don't want to discuss it? Nope. I don't want to even talk about it. What's the point? All you're going to do is get upset.
Yeah.
The word of wisdom I have that I would love to leave with you, one of the many things that has moved me forward as a human being is this, and this decides who you are, not what's out there. You decide if you're happy. You decide if you're connected to God. You decide how you think about life. You decide what's important. You decide how hard you're going to work. You decide what you're going to make of yourself, not what's out there.
Wow.
Okay, That's a piece of wisdom. Now,
Yeah.
if anybody needs a human resources software, if you're tired of little pieces of software and you'd like an all-in-one, all-encompassing piece of software that resides on one database, everything from hire to retire, everything resides in one, give me a call, please.
Well, we're going to know where to find you. We'll find you on LinkedIn. I'll put all the links to Alchemist and everything else there in the notes. Alfred, thank you so much. Thanks for the great words of wisdom. Heart and mind will dictate your future, it sounds like. Not what's in your surrounding environment, not what comes at you. It's what's inside. So thanks for powering the day with those thoughts and wisdom. I'll catch you next time, and I just appreciate you being here. Thank you so much.
Derek, appreciate what you do, being of service to people looking for a career. Hopefully I was some assistance.
You definitely were. I'll talk to you later.
Okay, bye-bye.
Hey everyone, thanks for checking out the show. If you like what you heard, be sure to check back weekly, subscribe to the show, and if you want to be featured on the show, come hit us up at theunderswell.com. We'd love to hear from you.